Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Two Loose Lug Nuts. My name is Clint,
Max.
and we're here to talk about the latest motorsport news.
Yeah, this is episode 2. Sorry for the late post from last week. Had some things going on, but we're back and give a quick highlight of Homestead. Byron won the race. Top 10 was Byron, Reddick, Truex Jr., Larson was 4th, Kevin Harvick, Michael McDowell, Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, and Kyle Busch. That's top 10. And I think if Reddick had about 5 laps more, Reddick probably would have caught, Byron and won.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, but I tell you what, this last 10, 15 laps, Reddick was wall riding. He was gaining, seconds per lap. So, it set up some of an exciting finish, but, Byron's car was just on a rail all night long after the sun dropped. Basically, we'll start with Vegas now, which, as Larson won, which it seems like Hendricks is back.
All the Chevy camp. You said RCR was good last weekend. Austin Dillon ran halfway decent this weekend. I just think the Chevy camp has found something. Granted, it's kind of obsolete now because everything's going to change next year, but I guess motor-wise, they found something.
Yeah, I think if, Larson wouldn't have wrecked at the road course, it'd probably be his second win of the season. But anyway, the top 10 is Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin. My man, Ryan Blaney, top 5. Martin Truex, Christopher Bale, William Byron, Joey Logano, and a surprise from RPM, Eric Jones finished the top 10.
Like I said, yeah, another Chevy car. Clearly, it looks like right now, the pecking order probably is Hendrick Motorsports, and probably a tie for second between Penske and Gibbs, the way things are going. Stuart Haas is struggling again. Yeah, Kevin Harvick went nowhere. He's usually the lead flagship for the team.
Oh, yeah, because,
like you said, usually pit stops is usually the only Achilles heel for Stuart Haas, but yeah, like that they're on the back foot. It's not can't be a horsepower problem because the Penske team, all four camp uses the same motors. Roush Yates and the Penske camp still doing just fine, so it has to be a chassis issue or wind tunnel problem that the Stuart Haas team is dealing with this year.
So, what do you think about Matty D on the final pit stop? The air gun broke. He had 3 good tires, 1 old tire, and he still finished in top 16. Well, he finished 16th. I think that's kind of cool or good on itself. To having a shot tire and still somewhat finishing decent when he had a top 10 car all day.
Well, yeah, that's true. The tire fall off is not as dramatic at Vegas as it is at Homestead or other amount of halves. Vegas is a pretty smooth surface. It stays in the summer heat all pretty much all year. So, it's. That's why you can ride the bottom, and you have multiple lanes. It's not that it's not like a super high wear track like Atlanta is because it's such an old surface. But it's getting up there in age. Don't be wrong. So that's why he's able to recover and make do with all 3 good tires and 1 old tire.
Yeah, well, what do you think about, I know we're kind of backtracking here somewhat about the truck race on Friday night. What's your opinion of Kyle Busch basically intentionally spinning to cause caution.
Key word. It's assumed that he intentionally spun. He never admitted that he did, because NASCAR does not take it kindly to intentionally spinning out. You know, it does look suspect. Again, I guess the case during when Junior drove back when he drove an 8 car. He said he intentionally spun out and bragged about it on the radio at Bristol, and got a penalty for it.
Yeah.
So, but Kyle Busch did not admit that he did it. You know, it did. It does look like he did. I mean, it'll be tough, especially as trucks have limited telemetry compared to the Cup cars. It'll be tough to really prove, without a doubt, that it was complete. It was on purpose. I mean,
so coming. Well, I guess I'm asking you. I guess some of the biased opinions. As you're a Kyle Busch fan, what's your take on that, on stuff like that in the sport?
Well,
I mean, do you think it should be okay, or do you think there should be something done about it?
Well, I don't like anything artificially, let's say, artificially stimulated, I guess. Or like you know, the results don't be artificially messed with. Like, you know, someone's potentially spinning out, that artificially changes the results of the race. Because, I mean, granted, you can't predict a natural thing happening, like someone blowing out a tire. I mean, things like that happen all the time. I mean, but if you know 100% of the fact, like the Clint Boyer incident back in 2012, or was it 2012?
Yeah, 12. Spingate, Richmond.
Yeah. So that, but that was on purpose. It was
changed the whole aspect of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I am a Kyle Busch fan, but I mean, like I said,
I mean, you.
Of course, I won't say that it was not intentional. He did not admit to doing it.
Oh no. I mean,
it just looks that way.
I mean, you know, you cannot fault him on talent. I mean. He spun out, had flat tire, you know, had to get everything done, and still came in second, which was granted. His truck won, which John Hunter
Nemechek.
Yeah, and which I think he made the right call. Go back to Truck Series, 'cause, I mean, granted, you know, our front row now. Granted, you know, Michael McDowell won the 500, which John Hunter probably didn't see that happen over the off season, so he went back to Truck Series to bet on himself with Kyle Busch to know that he can win. So I think I still think it's a smart move on his part, and if he has a great season this year, or I don't know if it's 1 year deal, 2 year deal, he might be jumping back in the Xfinity Series or Cup Series next year in a more top tier car.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the whole goal, but I mean it is one of those things. He has to produce. He's in the best equipment possible, trucks. If he's ever going to prove that he has talent that can make a difference, this is going to be his one shot. Because pretty much if he does not convince anybody this year, it's over. It's going to be going back right on his debt. Joe Nemechek's team. That's going to be his only option. Because I mean that's, you know, you're taking a bet on yourself. You just got to produce. Yeah, so far it looks good. I mean, like I said, it helps having the best truck. I mean, pretty much, he has to class the field, unless Kyle Busch is in the race.
Hey, well, man, you know, he's a driving for the, you know, best owner, has the best trucks week in, you know, week out, and granted, you know, past couple of years, other than Kyle Busch, you know, winning basically every truck race he's in, his trucks haven't necessarily performed. I guess you said that could be from drivers, but this is his third race in Kyle Busch's truck. You know, he won Friday, and I guess to, you know, keep on going by truck race, the owner of Camping World, you know, because I've seen these truck drivers. You know, I mean, it's hard to get sponsorship in NASCAR anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, regardless of your truck, I mean, hell, even ARCA, Xfinity, or Cup Series, it's hard to get sponsorship. And it's great to see that the owner of Camping World is doing the best he can to sponsor trucks, to get as many trucks as they can on track, and race. It was 10 different Camping World trucks out there on Friday night.
Yeah, well, I mean, he also sponsored track horse racing in the Cup Series.
Yeah, twice.
I mean, he's got a lot of money to spend, but
Yeah,
anything that could promote these teams, gain prominence, that could possibly bring in sponsorships and drive up revenue. That I'm all for it. I mean, if you're willing to blow $500 million on sponsoring every vehicle out there, go right ahead. I'm all for it. So,
see, I tell you what, I bet those spotters had a headache Friday night, and it seems like he's doing this again in Atlanta next weekend. So, hopefully, this keeps up. It's good for the sport. Hopefully, other owners will take heed or whatever you want to call it, and just
take notice.
Yes, that. And I mean, it's good for sport. It's putting, more sponsorship into sport. It's a, a win-win because I figured out he spent about $170,000 Friday night sponsorship spent $15,000 just to wrap the truck, and then if you finish top five, it's like $25,000. No, yes. So I mean. To him, that's that's a drop. But I mean, it's still good for the sport, and hopefully it keeps on happening.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. Well, let's go ahead and segue into the Xfinity race. You have the results for that. Well, AJ Allmendinger won the race.
Okay.
Daniel Hemrick was second. Brandon Jones third. Austin Cindric was fourth. Noah Gregson was fifth. Michael Annett sixth. Josh Berry was seventh. Justin Haley was eighth. Harrison Burton was ninth. And Jed Burton was 10th.
Yeah, the Burton cousins coming there to finish out top 10. I think it's. Hold on, Emma, go ahead.
Well, I say Harrison was on pace to have a top 4 finish. Then Al Cindric decided to dump him down the front straightaway. And fortunately, Harrison did a pretty good job. Just let it slide, and he caught it. And able to get back on track. And of course, get a caution, come out every pitted. It was a minimal loss. It was about 5 spots, but it could be a lot worse. But yeah, I mean, glad AJ Allmendinger. He's now proven that he's a more well-rounded driver. I don't know if this ever means he's going to be coming back full swing in the Cup Series anytime soon, but he's at least proven that he can get it done in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, it's good to see a colleague, racing, and Chris Rice, all of them, because they started there, did a business program for years, and every year, it's getting better and better. And AJ, everybody loves AJ. I mean, from the time he raced Penske to Petty, Abraham, and
Red Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull and JTG.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he always had sponsors, track sponsors. Excellent road course driver. And you're seeing here again his, short track racing, Mountain Head racing is getting better and better every year. So, I mean, if he did good all year and won the championship this year, I'd be happy for him because, he's an excellent talent.
Well, yeah, I mean, do you think, I know right now Kyle Racing does part-time Cup Series racing every once in a while. Do you think if they continue to success, they might eventually move up with a full-time car, at least one full-time car in the future?
Yeah, well, I believe they're running 5 races this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking they're now starting to get their feet wet, which they knew going into this year. Well, I would understand that it's no need to run full season, build all these cars.
We can't use again
for just one driver. when it all changes over next year. So they're basically getting their feet wet, trying to get notes and learn what they can and how to run a cup program, and then go. I would say, if not next year, definitely the year after they'll be full-time cup racing.
Yeah, I just wonder if they will stick with Chevrolet. I mean, there's a whole lot of Chevy teams out there. There's a lot of Ford teams. Toyota's the one that needs it. I mean, granted, the North American president of Toyota Racing Development has stated there are discussions about expanding the Toyota fleet. Petty is one of them. Well, actually, talking about some kind of buyout with Petty or merger. There's a potential merger happening with. There's an early rumor. There's no reading this with the 2311 team and Petty.
Yeah.
Because Denny Hamlin stated that they want to expand to 2 full-time cars, which means they'll have to have a charter, and the only team that looks set that they could possibly sell the charter or some kind of package deal would be Petty. I think everybody else is set tight, or that's. I don't think anybody else is going anywhere anytime soon. So that's the situation they're in. I know a lot of people will be absolutely disgusted to see the Petty 43 with a Toyota badge, and I mean, but people complain about it all the time. Dodge quit on y'all people. Toyota stuck around. Toyota's produced winners, and Toyota
they are funding teams.
And Toyota also. Their car, the sedan instead of the Camry, is more American than the Mustang or the Camaro that's produced that Chevy and Ford uses. Most of their parts are built overseas, and not even all of them are assembled in the United States.
Yeah, you see, Petty's been Ford, Petty's been Dodge, they've been Chevrolet now.
They've been Pontiac, they've been everybody.
And so honestly, what's it going to hurt? If Toyota is willing to put in the funding,
and they can get Gibbs,
Toyota,
everybody,
everybody's fussing about Toyota this, Toyota that, but I believe if Petty doesn't get this help, there is no more Petty. So if you want Petty to stay in the sport, he needs the funding. I mean,
well, Petty doesn't really own much of the team anymore anyway. I can't think of the guy's name at the moment. It's some Canadian man that owns most of the team. Obviously, they're using Richard Petty's last name as a marketing tool. Yeah, and he's the face as a marketing tool. And I mean, which I said, that's perfectly fine. I'm sure there's some kind of deal. The 2311 expand, like a alliance. What does it mean? I guess it'd be like the 2311 alliance with Richard Petty Motorsports with Joe Gibbs. I mean, I guess you can make it a 3-way. I mean,
to go back to the race on Saturday, I don't know if you heard this or not. During the race Saturday, the caution came out about 20 laps ago when Ty Dillon just wrecked the field.
Yeah.
Well, his spotter, his battery
died. Yeah.
I mean,
the moment
you gotta feel bad for Ty Dillon. He got the short stick, basically RCR, which I mean he raced for Germain, but I mean it's basically under RCR. So and then which I give Ty Dillon the credit. He's trying to do this on his own without getting any help. And he's got in with Toyota and Gibbs. Had a great car.
So far, he's been turning up though. That's the problem he has.
A freak accident happened that was out of his control. Never top 5 car wrecked.
Yeah, true. But he also, back in the Xfinity Daytona race, he was responsible for wrecking all the Gibbs Toyotas there.
Yes. That is Daytona. So I mean,
I get that as Daytona, but so far I know there's a limited schedule, and so he needs results, and he needs to start getting results quick.
I do,
because there's plenty of fellow drivers waiting. Ty Gibbs, which also will be racing this upcoming weekend.
Phoenix.
So. It'll be pretty exciting to see when he go for 2 for 2.
He seems like he's got promise, and we've seen how good he can be on the road course. We'll see how good he can be on a somewhat short track, a mile and a half, and it'd be something different, for him. Be the first time on the oval track in the Xfinity car. But I think if he can handle Daytona in the road course, I think this should be just as easy or easier as it did last time he raced.
Well, I mean, Phoenix is a unique mile track. I mean, because you got the back straightaway, it's the front straightaway, and turn 1, 2, I guess now is flat, and turn 3 and 4 is banked, and then pretty much everybody shortcuts the front back straightaway. So I mean, it'd be a new challenge. I mean, obviously, having being a Gibbs Toyota gives you a big advantage out of the gate generally. So we'll see how he handles that.
Okay, we'll go back to the I know it's not he ain't really talked about much, but Josh Berry for Junior Motorsports, he's been racing late models and Southpaw Speedway a lot, which I haven't really followed him, but I've seen him racing in those lower tier series for a long time now. And
he's a 30-year-old man, which means I still have a chance.
Yeah, yeah, chance in your dreams, which we all had dreams. So, but it's good to see him finally racing, and driving a car now, and I just hope he makes good on his chance he got, because I saw he's driving a car at Darlington for the throwback weekend, which, as I'm pretty sure y'all seen on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot, Junior has restored his dad's A car from the Busch Series.
Well, Chevy Nova.
And the paint scheme for Josh Berry's number 8 is the same paint scheme of the car. So, that'd be something neat just to, watch out for, in the upcoming races. Going out, go back to the Vegas Cup race real quick. Well, I think, I see that Hendrick, I think they finally they started working with, Earnhardt engines, and they're finally working together with all the Chevrolet teams, because they started doing that back in the summer last year.
Well, everybody's following the Toyota route. Toyota put all the engines under one house.
So as soon as they started doing that, he saw Chase started dominating.
Yeah.
And then it's now starting to trickle throughout all of Hendrick. I mean, I would say it's a long shot. I wouldn't be shocked seeing all four in the Final Four in the playoffs, or at least all four is going to have the opportunity to make the Final Four.
Well, like I said, it's still early in the season, and it's been so far. It's been difficult, besides maybe just organizational wise, to nail down like individual driver pecking order like we had last year with Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick. We knew going in week in week out that those are the two guys you had to beat. But I guess right now the only kind of conclusive information we have that it looks right now the Hendrick Chevrolets are the best cars. William Byron ran great. Vegas, like you said, Kyle Larson won. Bowman did well. So I mean, it's numerous. I mean, Chase Elliott was probably running well until he spun out and hit Kurt Busch. But like I said, I mean that's all. I mean that's the only determination we could probably make so far this year. I mean, still, like I said, still early, and more future races we'll have a better idea of how it's going to go. Granted, we got some wild card races coming. We got Dakota, we got the Dirt Bristol race, and so I mean there's a lot more curveballs coming. This year is going to be the curveball. Well, track wise, this is going to be the curveball track year.
Yeah.
Granted, next year is going to be the new car,
So I mean,
throwing all over the place, but still,
it's be the same thing basically all over again. Who can figure out the call first is the one who's be finishing first.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, even looking back over it, I mean, granted they fell off there at the end, but Chris Buescher finished there in top 15. It's good to see. Like at Homestead, he won the stage, and Newman finished top 10. Roush has been down for years now. It's good to hopefully see them back on the upswing, and I think Newman and Buescher can, if they stay teammates, I believe they can get better this year and be even better next year.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we hope. We hope all extra better competition and progression from all the teams. And like I said, next year, no one knows. No one knows how next year's going to go yet. It's just so many variables.
I guess I'm biased. I'm a Blaine fan, but I mean, it's because you growing up, you were a Kansas fan, and everybody like Carl Edwards and Martin. I was back when Roush's heyday when they're dominating. It's good to see those teams trying to get back to at least close to how they were back then. So just Yeah,
I mean, like I said, I grew up. I grew up as a Hendrick Motorsports fan at first, then I switched over to Roush, in early 2000s. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're back. I mean, I was glad a couple years ago when the 6 car got a new driver, part time, and I don't know how much. Kenzie made a difference, especially towards the end of the year that year, because he was finishing the top 5 in a car that nobody they couldn't get in the top 20. So, anyway, I think that's going to be all our NASCAR news for today. Now we'll switch over to our Formula One news. We got some F1 preseason testing starts this Friday, March 12th. There's only going to be 3 days of preseason testing, except most of the cars are carryover cars from last year. There's some aerodynamic tweaks. And then we've had a slew. Every team has officially launched delivery and or car in the last couple of weeks. And I guess the first car I want to talk about is the Red Bull RB16B, which will be piloted by Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, replacing Alex Albon after another disappointing year. I mean, Red Bull has not yet found a suitable teammate to Max Verstappen since Daniel Ricciardo left for Renault a couple years ago, and I think they probably found their guy. Sergio has done phenomenal in a mid-tier car, even won in a mid-tier car last year. So I think Red Bull finally have a guy that they can feed and push Max to do better and challenge Mercedes more often, I guess. I still think Mercedes is probably still going to be the head of the field. But Honda this is Honda's last year, and that's the power unit for Red Bull, and they're throwing out. I mean, they went at it. They're bringing a radical design that was supposed to be. Was a 2-year wait, and it said they're going to bring it forward this year. That comes with risk, reliability, but it's supposed to be a huge power boost. So if they can get on if it's reliable out of the gate, that'll serve Red Bull very well. And looking at the photos that Red Bull released, there's not a whole lot you can see show from there. I mean, there's obviously some camera tricks and lighting and stuff to try to hide the secrets. We know there's going to be a lot of emphasis on the rear end of the car. I think that's pretty much where everybody's most teams have spent their money. Well, because that's where the biggest change aerodynamically is, since the floor now has a triangle cut out, and also the T tray has been moved, and it has to be more. The angle of the T tray cannot be as extreme, which is the bottom part of the car, aerodynamically, the very, very, very bottom. It's underneath where the driver sits. They call it a T tray because, well, it looks like a T tray. I hope Red Bull's car is very competitive. It's Red Bull said 60% of the components from last year's car carried over to this one. That's why it gave it a B iteration, not a new RB17, because it's pretty much just a carryover car, just with further aerodynamic development. It looks beautiful. I mean, the Aston Martin logos are gone for obvious reasons, which we'll get to. And the Honda logos are much more prevalent. And yeah, and like the Honda, all the new Honda logos and stuff on it are pretty prevalent. Also, there's a new Telcel logos from Sergio as his personal sponsor. He brings aboard. So yeah, the Red Bull looks pretty good. Hopefully, it's competitive right out of the gate. So that way we have a show early in the season. 14 start switching off development to the 2022 car. So we'll see how that goes. All right, the next car on the docket we'll talk about is the controversial one. It's the new Haas VF21. We've driven this year by Mick Schumacher, the return of the Schumacher name. This is Michael Schumacher's son, and Mick will be debuting exactly 30 years from the debut of Michael Schumacher in F1. And his teammate will be Nikita Mazepin. He's a Russian driver, athlete from the country of Russia. So it's due to the doping allegations and punishments given out by the World Anti-Doping Association. No Russian athlete can compete underneath the Russian flag this year. But that's why the Haas VF21 livery is controversial, because it pretty much is a Russian flag. Your Kali, which Nikita Mazepin's father, Dmitry Mazepin, it's a major shareholder in, is the new title sponsor of Haas F1. They decided to change their corporate logo to now the colors of the Russian flag. So Haas has now decided to do the whole car as a big Russian flag. But Nikita Mazepin cannot compete as a Russian driver. So that's why right now it's pretty. That's the controversy in the livery. There's a big void in sponsorships compared to previous years. Peak is gone.
Okay, to an outset fan about the Russian flag,
it's an American team.
Yes,
decked out in Russian colors.
So, is there a certain reason, behind all that?
Well, it's a Russian sponsor, and they're now the title sponsor. Nikita Mazepin, his dad, basically bought the seat. Which the rumor is, and there's no way to prove this figure, that he's paying Haas upwards of $20 million a year to have his son in that race car. Which, now with the budget cap, that is lots of money Haas can use to build a better car.
Oh yeah.
Which, I don't actually have a problem with the fact that it is a Russian company sponsoring my hate. Because look, no American company stepped up to the plate to sponsor when they could.
That's right.
So, they need money. Guess what? They gave them money.
I'm not into F1s, but you are. But Haas basically gave everybody a chance to jump on board when he started this. No one did, and these guys are. So it's still great for sport. It's brand sponsorship. I mean, it may be a bought ride, but hey, that is going to help his team improve, get better. If he can perform and drive well, it all works out.
Well, I mean, okay, talking about the background, Nikita, which his racing career. We're not going to hit the controversy he had during the off season this year, but his junior category is pretty. I'll say stellar, but very competitive. He's won multiple races in multiple junior categories. He's a very competitive driver. I think he finished 4th or 5th in last year's F2 championship. Granted, he's a very highly aggressive driver. He got a lot of penalty points added to his license due to extreme aggressive driving. He also got in trouble for slamming into a pit board and try to hit another driver with a pit board. Almost resulted in a race ban. Then once he got announced as a new Haas F1 driver, a video leaked of him groping a woman's breast in the backseat of a car and him laughing about it. Now, granted, he did not post this video himself. A friend did that, and it was being taken down, but the backlash has been pretty severe. There's a hashtag no to Mazepin following going on Twitter. Haas said they're aware of the negative feedback they received about this. But hey, if your dad's paying me $20 million a year to you drive a race car, guess what, buddy? You're driving that race car. Because hey, I mean that brings up one.
Talks, bullshit walks.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
the old saying.
One will tie back. The little thing came up on my on a fellow podcast. Mike Joy tweeted out this week. They think it was towards Noah Gragson about how his daddy is paid for his seat. My mom, like, hey, Noah Gragson has won in multiple categories.
He has performed.
Yeah, and hey,
but
every driver has money somewhere.
I mean,
racing is expensive.
I mean, yes, racing is expensive. Like Chase, his
daddy,
Brian Blaney,
daddy,
his daddy. I mean,
Junior, his daddy. I mean,
it may not have been all the way, to a Cup Series ride, but it may have been to a truck seat. It may have been to an ARCA car. But every driver somewhere, they started with somebody else's money. Somebody got them to where they're at today.
Yeah, I mean, and so that's my tie-in when you hear about the Haas. Hey, Mick Schumacher, he's a fantastic driver. He is a reigning F2 champion. But hey, he has a Schumacher last name. His daddy is the great Michael Schumacher. Drivers
of all time.
So you can't say that. I'm not saying that was paid his way, but definitely opened doors that say somebody with a name that no one knew would never get these opportunities. Him being the son of one of the greatest drivers in the history of the world, yeah, that opens up doors.
Yes, it definitely didn't hurt him at all.
Which, granted, he's on a 2-year deal with Haas because Ferrari wants to evaluate does he have the progression necessary to take over a seat for the Scuderia Ferrari team. Haas has already wrote off this year. They spent 0 of the development tokens. They just did the minimum aerodynamic upgrades, and changes for the rules. They said they're going to spend all their aerodynamic resources on the new car for 2022. The car they show for testing tomorrow will be the exact same car they finished the season with. No changes to the bodywork. So there's no more upgrades. This year is about to get the drivers comfortable in the sport, get them up to speed of the operations, and just develop their knowledge base and skill level and get ready for a full assault next year. Especially with the budget cap, so that this should all hopefully... Hey, Haas 2018 produced one hell of a race car. Granted, it was powered by possibly a slightly illegal motor from Ferrari, but no one knows if that's the deciding factor or not. But it was definitely a very competitive car. Most of the time, it was the fourth fastest. which for the team with the smallest budget, that's pretty damn good. I hope the best for Haas. Like I said, I'm not crazy about delivery. I'm not crazy about them basically getting around the Russia flag ban for next by painting the whole damn car the colors of the Russian flag. But it is what it is. We'll have to get. It is a very striking livery. Stands out. I mean, like I said, a lot of people thought, oh, red, white, and blue is the American team, but no, it was actually the American team with the draped over a Russian cape. So we'll see how it all develops. Now, the last car I want to talk about is the return of Aston Martin racing to Formula One. The new Aston Martin, which will be piloted by four-time champion Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll. Lance was also I guess you say he's a paid driver. His dad owns partial of Aston Martin and actually owns the Aston Martin Racing. So you could say his dad helped facilitate his career. Now, granted, Lance is a proven commodity. Lance is a hell of a qualifier, hell of a first lap driver. I tell you, he makes up position on the first lap. And it probably wasn't for the damage to the front wing. He probably could have had his first win at the Turkish Grand Prix. Maybe, knowing how he had a massive lead. Lewis was pretty quick at the end. Lewis myself got there no matter what. But he's proven he's had multiple podiums. So he's proven that he can get the job done. Obviously, get down, I guess, Sebastian Vettel. Sebastian Vettel's been with two fantastic teams in his previous stints with Red Bull and Ferrari. So he knows what a winning organization looks like. So he can take that know-how and help, let's say, bring Aston Martin up to snuff. Granted, last year was a struggle for Sebastian. I think he only had about 2 good races, really. So hopefully that was a bad run. Hopefully he can go back producing the way he used to produce, basically being Lewis Hamilton's only challenger. But I think that shoe is now falling onto Max Verstappen and possibly Charles Leclerc. But hey, now my opinion about the Aston Martin livery, I think it could have been a lot better. I don't like the green. It's fantastic. Why the hell they had to put a pink line through the darn thing, I have no idea. I think that pink and green is not the greatest color combination there is. I think the car is sexy. They went with the lime green they use in the GT programs more so, because even the little flashes of that on the halo looks absolutely gorgeous. But I understand BWT want a little bit of that pink trace since they're still a primary sponsor of the car. But hey, and also and this car is not going to be known as the green Mercedes like last year's car was known as the pink Mercedes. It's not a copy anymore. This car, they have went down their own development route. Granted, they did do buy non-listed parts from Mercedes. They are a Mercedes power team, but last year they came out and said, we took 3D images, camera shots of the 2019 Mercedes car, and made it their 2020 car, and then they started their own development path from that, and re-engineered the whole car, and so hopefully it paid off. It was a fast car right out the gate. I don't think they maximize opportunities every time, but I think towards the last third, they finally start getting into operations like a front running team could have been. That's why they produced a win at Sakir with Sergio Perez. So hopefully, I'm hoping for more challengers. I think this car I think it'll be in a tight fight with McLaren and Ferrari this year for the third best car. I do think, like I said, I still think Mercedes is number one, and Red Bull will be a close second. And I think it's going to be still a fingernail gap between everybody else. So, but we'll know more after this weekend. And here in about 2 more weeks when they actually do race the Bahrain Grand Prix. Because you'll actually know what the fuel loads are on each car. But I hope for an exciting season. Next week I'll discuss the remaining cars that have been launched and discuss the testing times and see who looks fast. Because some cars, some teams, they do hero runs. They put this couple laps of gas, fresh tires, and make them go out there and set up blazing lap time. And you think that car's gonna be the fastest car all year, but you need to look at the car that's the most consistent. That's the key number. Which car can run a lap after lap after lap at the same pace, and that if it has like no fall off, then you know that car is well built and very, very consistent platform, which usually generates a better performing car across all tracks and surfaces throughout the year. All right, Max. Well, that's all the F1 news. Any other remaining topics you want to talk about?
I guess going back to that, paying to be in your ride and see Mike Joyce said basically about Gregson, because he was basically, everybody saw what he said about David Starr. But honestly, David Starr, he was running top 12. He was on the lead lap, and he doesn't have the funding.
Well, yeah, I don't prove what Gregson said.
No,
about David Starr.
So honestly, in that perspective, Gregson should have went to the bottom. They should have spotters should have talked to each other. That situation could have been totally avoided. But Gregson thinks he's hot stuff and thinks the world revolves around him, and that everybody should get out of the way when he's fighting to be on the lead of that. Because let's say they didn't wreck and caution came out, he'd be the last car on the lead of that. He might gain a spot or two after caution, so he's still trying his best to do what he can do to stay on the lead of that and possibly get a top 10 for him being motorsports, which barely underfunded team.
Yeah, he's doing what he's got to do. Like I said, I don't agree with the comments made. I think maybe the first day is probably the heat of the moment, but now he's reiterated his stuff. It's just distasteful, probably the way I want to say it. But hey, every man's entitled to his opinion. And like I said, that's probably where my disagreement with Noah is. Like I said, no, I don't harp the same feelings that Mike Joy has about being a pay driver. Like I said, that's a whole different issue. I know. Like I said, I hope the best for Noah. I really do, because he's a fiery competitor. I like aggressive drivers. I don't like stupid aggressive where they just bully their way through everyone. But I know a smart driver takes calculated risk. That's the kind of driver I like, and hopefully he can develop it and be that kind of a driver.
Yeah, I would like to add something new to the show. What's your opinion? Got a Phoenix coming up this weekend, and I don't know, maybe we can do our own picks. See, you pick driver to win, and I will, and then we can tally it up at the end of the year and see who picked the best.
All right, that's fair.
Okay, well, of course, I'm going with team Penske.
Well, I pick one car
this weekend, because Penske has proven the past couple of years they've gotten pretty well at Phoenix with Joey. Joey won the last fully spectated event for NASCAR at Phoenix.
Yeah.
So they're coming back to Phoenix. Blaney had a top 5 car. I'm honestly, I guess this is biased. I am picking Blaney this weekend, and I would hope he wins, but I would expect at least a top 5 this coming up.
All right. Well, Kyle Busch is my favorite driver at the moment, but I'm not going to pick him to win. Granted, he's capable of winning anytime, anywhere. I think my pick is going to be Truex. He's been on a stronger run.
Yep.
Pretty much leading the Toyota brigade.
And
he's usually a pretty flat. He's a good flat track driver.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's going to upset the Hendrick stronghold right now, I think it's going to be Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, I still think it'll be, I would say, either 5, 9, 24, or the team.
All right. Well, folks, that's all of our show for this week. I hope you enjoy it. Our goal is to be back next week and bringing more up-to-date news.
So yes, follow us on YouTube and subscribe and leave comments about what y'all think, what we should add, what we should take out. Just follow us, and we thank you.